Chapter 9. Night is not our friend. Alternate, the brain is a liar. Night did not arrive gently. It crept in the way pain did, quiet at first, then all at once, sliding over the lake and pressing itself against the cabin windows until the world outside became a dark, reflective surface that offered nothing back. Inside, music played low. John Coltrane, Naima. The needle rode the groove with reverence, the notes slow and aching, a kind of patience that felt earned rather than assumed. Elias had put it on after dinner, after dishes, after the last small talk had faded into the kind of silence that only existed once the day's obligations had been met. The cats knew the shift before either human named it. Max abandoned the window and claimed the foot of the bed. Trixie curled into a tight, defiant knot near Juliet's pillow. Nova positioned herself in the doorway, half in shadow, a sentry who trusted nothing after dark. Juliet lay on her back, eyes open, staring at the ceiling beams. Her shoulder throbbed, not sharply, not urgently, but insistently, like a reminder she could not ignore. Elias lay beside her again, a careful distance maintained by mutual understanding rather than rule. The quilt lay between them, neat, unmoving. The music ended. Elias did not immediately replace it. He waited, listening, not for sound, but for absence. Juliet's breathing had changed. It wasn't the shallow panic of waking fear. It was deeper than that. Slower. The kind that preceded impact.
"Juliet?"
he said quietly. No response. Her brow furrowed. Her jaw tightened. One hand twitched against the sheet. Elias shifted, careful not to touch. His body tensed, instinct screaming for action, for contact, for grounding pressure, but he did not move past the line he had drawn and reinforced again and again. Consent was not something you assumed when someone was asleep. Juliet's breath hitched. The room fell away.
She was running. Her feet slapped against wet pavement, the sound echoing too loudly in a street that should have been empty but wasn't. Neon lights flickered overhead. Blue, red, white. Too bright, too sharp. Someone was shouting her name. Or maybe it was another name. Or maybe it was just noise pretending to be language. She turned a corner and hit a wall of bodies. Hands grabbed her arms. Too tight, wrong angles, pain blooming where it shouldn't. Her shoulder screamed as someone twisted it, shoved her down. Concrete scraped her palms. A siren wailed, rising and rising until it split into something else. Flat, mechanical. Monitors. She smelled antiseptic. Heard the squeak of shoes on linoleum. A voice above her head said something about compliance and necessary force, and she was resisting. She wasn't. She never was. Her mouth opened to scream and nothing came out.
Juliet screamed. It tore out of her chest, raw and unfiltered, the kind of sound that bypassed language entirely. Elias was upright instantly.
"Juliet,"
he said, voice steady, grounded.
"you're here. You're safe."
Her eyes flew open, wild, unfocused, pupils blown wide. She tried to sit up and cried out, pain lancing through her shoulder, anchoring her violently in the present.
"Don't touch me,"
she gasped, the words automatic, reflexive.
"I won't."
Elias said immediately.
"I'm here. I'm not touching you."
He stayed exactly where he was, hands open, visible, useless by design. Juliet's breath came in sharp, uneven pulls. She clawed at the sheets with her good hand, the other held awkwardly against her body. Tears streamed down her face without sound, without permission. The radio crackled softly as the needle reached the end of the record. Elias reached past the line, not toward her, but toward the music, and set another album spinning. Coltrane, in a sentimental mood. The piano eased in first, then the sax, slow, familiar, human.
"Can you hear the music?"
Elias asked quietly. She nodded barely.
"Good. Stay with that. You're in the cabin, Upper Quinsam. It's February. I'm Elias."
Her gaze finally found his. He did not look away. Minutes passed like this, him speaking only when necessary, her breathing gradually slowing, the music doing its quiet work. Max crept higher up the bed and pressed his weight against her legs, a solid, warm presence that required nothing. Eventually, Juliet swallowed.
I need...
Her voice broke. She tried again.
I need you to sit closer.
Elias waited a fraction of a second longer than instinct demanded.
Is it okay if I move closer?
Yes.
He shifted, closing the distance, but still did not touch. His body became a barrier against the dark rather than a claim upon her. Juliet shook, the adrenaline ebbing now, leaving exhaustion and shame in its wake.
I hate this.
She whispered.
I know,
He said.
You shouldn't have to...
She gestured weakly between them.
You shouldn't have to hold back.
Elias exhaled slowly.
This isn't restraint.
He said.
This is respect.
That cost him more than he let his voice show. His body was wired for action, for contact, for solving problems with hands and force and certainty. Every instinct screamed to pull her close, to anchor her physically, to take the tremor out of her bones by sheer proximity. He did none of that, because this mattered more. The music shifted again as the album ended. Elias chose deliberately this time. Bill Evans. Peace, peace. Sparse. Repetitive. Honest. Juliet's breathing finally evened out. Her eyes drooped, the crash after the storm pulling her down whether she wanted it or not.
Stay.
She murmured.
I'm here.
Elias said.
I'm not going anywhere.
She slept again eventually, uneven, fragile, but real. Elias did not. He lay awake, listening to the music, to the cabin, to the steady proof of her breathing. His body ached with unspent instinct, with desire that had nowhere ethical to go, with the quiet violence of choosing stillness when action would have been easier. Outside, the lake reflected nothing. Inside, the night pressed close, and Elias held the line. Chapter 10. Swimming lessons for the almost dead. Alternate, the lake does not judge. The lake waited. It did not rush them. It did not demand bravery. It did not care how long Juliet stood at the edge with her arms folded tight against her chest, eyes tracking the slow, indifferent movement of water against rock. Morning had already been established as ritual. Coffee, silence, music. Inside the cabin, Otis Redding played low, his voice rough and tender all at once. These arms of mine. It drifted through open windows and followed them outside like something carried on breath rather than sound. Juliet wore a long-sleeved shirt and loose pants, layers chosen less for warmth than for armor. Her shoulder still ached, less sharp now, more insistent. But the pain had changed character. It no longer felt like a warning. It felt like something that could be negotiated with. Elias stood a respectful distance away, barefoot on the damp grass, hands loose at his sides. He had not suggested this lightly. The idea had been offered the night before, quietly, after the worst of the nightmare had passed.
Water supports what the ground demands that
He'd said.
we can try. We don't have to finish.
Juliet stared at the lake.
I don't know if I remember how...
She said finally. Elias nodded.
Your body does.
That landed somewhere deep. They waded in slowly, shoes abandoned on the shore, the cold biting immediately at Juliet's calves, then knees. She hissed through her teeth, muscles tightening in reflex.
Too much?
Elias asked. She shook her head.
No, just really cold.
The water climbed higher, stealing heat, stealing weight. When it reached her waist, Juliet stopped and closed her eyes. Something inside her shifted. Her shoulder protested when she tried to move her arm, but the resistance was different here. Softer, forgiving. The lake held her where gravity never had. Elias stayed close, not touching, his presence a steady constant in her peripheral vision.
Whenever you're ready,
He said. She took a breath and let herself lean forward, letting the water take more of her weight. The first movements were awkward, half-remembered, cautious. Her injured arm lagged behind, unwilling, stiff. She swore under her breath.
That's fine.
Elias said immediately.
It doesn't need to be graceful.
Juliet snorted.
That's good.
She moved again. Slower this time. Feeling how the water responded, how it pushed back without punishing her. The ache in her shoulder dulled, spread out, lost its edge. Inside the cabin, the music shifted. Crash test dummies, swimming in your ocean. The timing would have amused her if she'd had room for humor just yet. Juliet let herself float for the first time. It was tentative, imperfect. But it happened. Her body rose, supported, held by something that asked nothing in return. Her legs drifted behind her, her good arm moving easily, the injured one following cautiously. Elias watched with quiet focus, ready to intervene, ready to do nothing at all.
You're doing it,
he said.
I know.
She said, surprise creeping into her voice. She moved again. One stroke, then another, not distance, not speed, just motion. Memory woke up in her muscles. She remembered being strong, not invincible, not untouched, but capable. She stood again, breath coming faster now, not from fear, but exertion. A smile crept across her face before she could stop it.
I don't hurt as much,
she said, wonder threaded through the words.
That's the point,
Elias replied. They stayed in the water longer than planned. Juliet experimented with movement, pushing just enough to feel effort without triggering pain. Elias mirrored her pace, never leading, never crowding. When fatigue finally set in, it arrived cleanly, honestly. They waded back to shore together. Juliet stood dripping at the edge of the lake, chest rising and falling, hair plastered to her neck. She looked down at her hands, steady, capable, hers. Inside, Joe Cocker took over. Feeling all right. She laughed then, short, surprised, real. Elias turned at the sound, something loosening in his chest.
What?
He asked.
I feel
She searched for the word.
not broken, not right, but present.
He nodded.
That counts.
They wrapped up in towels, steam rising from skin in the cold air. Juliet caught her reflection faintly in the cabin window, pale, tired, alive, strong even, not healed, but healing. The lake lay behind them, unchanged, unconcerned. It had held her without judgment. And for the first time since June, Juliet believed her body might forgive her too. Chapter 11. Kajutajuk does not appear on shipping manifests. Alternate, folklore is cheaper than security. The internet was a liar, not maliciously, not even creatively. It lied by omission, by burying truth under relevance algorithms and archived PDFs no one thought to tag properly in 1994. Elias knew how to listen anyway. The cabin hummed with electricity and low heat, the radio murmuring to itself like it always did. Inside, Jesse Roper slid through the speakers, gritty, restless. Danger. Appropriate. It always was. Elias sat at the small kitchen table with the laptop, an insultingly clunky thing that took patience and ritual of its own. He had legal pads spread out beside it, handwritten notes scrawled in tidy blocks, dates, locations, company names that changed just enough to pass a cursory audit. Juliet sat curled on the love seat, arm propped carefully, cats arranged around her like punctuation. Max sprawled across her thighs, orange and white bulk radiating heat. Trixie perched on the backrest, black and white tail flicking. Nova sat on the windowsill, tortoiseshell eyes half-lidded, watching everything. Juliet pretended to read. She wasn't. She was listening. Elias didn't talk while he worked, not unless there was something worth saying. When he finally spoke, it was without preamble.
Northern supply chains,
He said.
fuel, medical, construction, stuff nobody questions until it's late.
Juliet looked up.
Late how?
Missing.
He tapped the pad.
3 shipments in 8 months, all rerouted on paper, all vanished north of Prince Rupert.
Pirates?
She offered.
Too loud,
He scrolled.
too simple.
The radio betrayed them gently this time, segueing into Barbra Streisand. Putting it together. Juliet snorted.
Even the universe thinks you're obsessing.
Elias huffed a single laugh.
It's a personality flaw.
He turned the laptop slightly so she could see the map. Lines traced north, arcing toward places marked more by weather than governance.
And here's where it gets interesting.
He continued.
Every loss report includes a secondary note, insurance disclaimer language.
Juliet squinted.
That's folklore?
Elias nodded.
Different words, same idea. Environmental anomaly. Local legend interference. One even says,
He paused, incredulous.
unverified humanoid marine activity.
Juliet went still, not frozen, not panicked, alert. Her mouth moved before she consciously decided to speak.
Kajuta juke.
Elias looked at her sharply.
You know that word?
She shrugged, uncomfortable with the attention.
Heard it growing up, not taught, just around.
She stared at the map again, something clicking behind her eyes.
Kajuta juke's an Inuit thing.
She said slowly.
Water spirit, protector, or monster. Depends who's telling it.
Protector of what?
Elias asked.
Trade routes.
She replied immediately, then blinked.
Food. Supplies. Community.
Elias leaned back, chair creaking.
So someone moves illegal cargo through the north and lets people blame a myth.
Juliet nodded.
People won't fight a story they respect. Or fear.
The cat shifted as if in agreement. Max stretched. Trixie chirped. Nova's tail flicked once, decisive. Juliet's head tilted, eyes unfocusing as memory drifted up. Not trauma this time, but fragments. Snatches of overheard conversation. Men who thought she was background noise. Accents she'd cataloged without knowing why.
You don't lose that many shipments unless you're hiding something worth losing,
She said quietly. Elias studied her then, not protectively, not skeptically, respectfully.
You catch details.
He said. She swallowed.
I had to learn that.
The music faded, replaced by the soft click of keys and the lake breathing outside the window. Somewhere far north, someone was very comfortable letting a legend do their accounting. And in a cabin by Upper Quinsam Lake, a woman who had survived by noticing everything was beginning, slowly, to remember that her mind was a weapon too. The shadow lengthened, the myth smiled, and the world did not notice yet.